Welcome back to the OSX Overland Survival Expedition channel. Another topic we're going to be covering here is your food. Okay. Highly overlooked. Again, people forget about the types of foods that are going to allow them to flourish in hard times. Okay. A lot of people rely on what's in their fridge, what's in their freezer, but they don't have any way of prolonging the life of the food that they do have in their fridge or freezer. And that's a problem, because in an SHTF, a grit down, an EMP, or a without rule of law situation, that food will only be good for so long. I forget what the stats are, but without power to your refrigerator or your freezer, on average with the insulation, your food will only last about 48 hours, 72 hours at max is what I think is what your average fridge and freezer. That's about how long your food will stay good. Anything after that, especially in the summer months, you're done. You better go to the grocery store. But all I can say is, if all your money's on a card at the bank and the grid's down and Walmart's still open, but they're not accepting any kind of cards, and all they're accepting is cash and gold coins and silver and change, well, you're fucked. Excuse my language, but you're fucked. So we're going to talk about a few things on the food topic here, and that's number one, the food types to consider. So number one, we have canned goods. As far as canned goods go, what I do is I inspect them, make sure there's no dents, no corrosion, no damage to the can itself. And then number two, on the canned foods, I check the date. If everything checks out physically on the visual inspection, we will go ahead and purchase the canned good, but only with a 1-2 year minimum date. So it needs to be good for at least 1-2 years or longer. I usually look for 2 years and longer, but that's what I do for canned goods. Dry goods, same thing, visual inspection. I don't buy anything where the box is all fucked up and it looks like everybody's finger fucked it already at the grocery store. You know, just common sense to me. I know it's not that common nowadays, but your oats, rice, noodles, flours, baking soda, baking powder, so you can make flour. You can make dough from the flour. You know, stuff like that, the dry stuff. Again, visual inspection and then expiration date. That's what I go for. From there, you can prolong the life with your storage, but that's the number two here. So we'll get to that here in a minute. After dry foods, dehydrated foods. So we're talking beef jerkies, all your jerkies, smoked salmons, smoked meats, stuff like that, cured bacons, you know, all the dehydrated stuff. Vacuum sealed. So vacuum seal can take you to the next level in your preps because you can spend less money, but you can store it longer. If you have a vacuum seal machine, you have Mylar bags. You don't have to have Mylar bags, but you know, it's pretty known deal that everybody's using Mylars for the most part. And then you're going to need oxygen absorbers, and that's going to allow you to do a lot more preps for a lot cheaper in the long term. So that's another thing. Last but not least, on the food types is going to be your freeze-dried foods. Now, there's a few brands to go with. Personally, I've only tried Mountain House and Backpackers Pantries because that's what they offer at my location. I'm sure there's other companies, but at the big box stores is what they offer. So now those come with the price tag, of course. And that's going to be average $7-8 per meal. But you're getting a shelf life of 25, 50 years and up. You're getting the convenience of just add water and mix it in the package that the food comes in. And you're also getting the convenience of not having to clean a bunch of dishes from making a meal from scratch. And you're, for the most part, I think you're getting quality food, you know. So I've tried a few different freeze-dried stuff, and they're all pretty good. So really, it's the price tag, and if you can afford to hand the money over, then you know it's the way to go. I keep like that. You know, that's what I think about that. Number 2 is going to be storage. You're going to want to keep it in a cool, dry, dark place. That's always the best when it comes down to preserving foods. You know, keep it protected from the elements as best as possible. You're not going to want your canned goods out in the sun or in the heat of your car in the summertime. You know, you just don't want to have a bunch of heat and light on your foods, especially for long-term use. So that's that. Cooking. This kind of goes into another subject, but without getting too deep into cookware, you're cooking. Basically, you're going to want to choose food types that are not going to soak up your water consumption, right? It's not going to drain your water system, so as much as possible, right? So if you're cooking out of stainless steel, right? Well, there's a lot more elbow grease and scrubbing and water and soap that goes into cleaning stainless steel. So anything that's really sticky, starchy, you don't want to do out of stainless steel because it's going to run your water system dry, right? So maybe cast iron's better for you because you can just cook whatever for the most part. Boil some water, scrub that thing out, re-oil your pan, and it's a wrap, you know? You're not having to scrub, rinse until you get every little thing, because you can get foodborne illnesses if you don't clean your pans that good. You know, if you have food that's been stuck on your pans and shit, and you're constantly cooking and getting that, and every time you cook a meal, it adds up in your body, right? So it could be growing bacteria that makes you sick, and if you get sick, well, that's not good. So that's cooking. That kind of tied into cleanup. That was my number 4, cleanup, right? So personally, without getting too much into the cookware, cast iron or stainless steel is what I prefer. Cast iron, the cleaning is way easier. So right there, it's going to help you out. And the last point that I wanted to make, so it's macros, right? Macronutrients. So whatever you decide to go, whatever route you decide to choose, the main thing is just making sure that you do hit your macros. So you need to hit carbs for your energy source. You need to get your proteins in. You need to get your fats. And at the end of the day, if you don't get a good balance of all of them, you need to at least make sure you're getting calories in, period. So that's all I got on that. On the food, I could expand if you want. But that's pretty much the basics of it in 10 minutes, in under 15 minutes. Those are the big things to consider. There's a few things that I didn't cover, but we can get into depth. If you guys have any more questions, comments, concerns, let me know. We can get into that. But I just wanted to cover the basic bare bones minimum right now on that. So stay tuned. Like, share, subscribe. Overland Survival Expedition. We're out.